Are we? It was amazing how, with bloodshot eyes that he couldn't fully open and serious stubble, Dan still looked so good. Evie just raised her eyebrows and did some more face scrunching. It would probably be better for him to remember things for himself gradually. Dan did a manic patting motion under the sheets, and the cerise, nylon-y velour bedspread covering them nearly fell onto the floor. "Oh my God. Naked," he said. Maybe he didn't remember all the sex. Maybe he wasn't going to remember that they were married. Again, God, married. If he didn't remember, she was going to have to tell him. Not immediately, though. It would be hard to find the right words. Hopefully he'd remember for himself eventually if she waited. "I know," Evie nodded. "Ouch. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God." It sounded like he was starting to remember. He turned away from her and looked over the side of the bed and did more patting around. "I can't see my clothes," he said. He suddenly froze. "Oh my God!" There it was. That had to be him remembering everything. Evie just lay there. She couldn't think of any words that would do justice to the magnitude of the situation. Dan unfroze after a few seconds and slid off the bed, taking the bedspread with him and wrapping it round his waist in one impressively athletic motion. Evie's shoulders were cold because they were bare. She dragged the bedclothes up so that they were tucked around her neck. Married," Dan said. Croaked, really. Evie nodded and screwed her face up further. "Do you think we can get divorced today?" Dan adjusted the bedspread so that it covered more of him. At any other time, Evie would have been disappointed because he had a great chest, and it didn't seem that likely that she was ever going to see it again at close quarters. "Probably. I mean, a lot of people probably get married in Vegas and regret it." She'd said that in a really normal voice, which was surprising, because married in Vegas, it was really hard not to freak out about the fact they were married. "Yeah, we can Google it." Dan was shuffling himself and the bedspread around the room now, gathering up clothing. "Yep, good plan." Evie stayed put, holding the sheets up to her chin. It was a good plan, definitely. Google had an answer for everything. Hopefully. Eventually, Dan sat down on the other side of the bed and, with his left hand holding the bedspread in place, began to sort through their clothes with his right. He placed her lovely new red dress, which she couldn't really imagine wearing again now because of the memories, on the bed next to her, followed by her tights, her bra, quite a nice black one, and her pants, beige, huge, and stomach-flattening because she had not been expecting to pull last night. Dan folded the pants in four as he put them down, and Evie winced. And then winced more at the memory of when he tried to pull them off and she had to help him, and it had taken ages and they both got quite out of breath because the pants were seriously tight. "Would you like to use the bathroom first?" Dan asked. Nope. It might not be soundproof, and she didn't fancy weeing with him sitting just outside. Plus, would she realistically be able to get herself out of bed with the sheets still wrapped round her without flashing any more flesh? She'd be a lot better off waiting until he'd gone. "You go first," she said. "Sure? Okay, thanks." Evie watched Dan shuffle himself and the bedspread into the bathroom, and then resumed staring at the pink ceiling, trying very hard not to let any tears squeeze out. Happy birthday me, she thought. 30 years old today. She had a lot to be thankful for, like how she definitely ticked a lot of boxes you wanted to tick by your 30th. A wonderful family, yes. Great friends, yes. A career that she loved, yes. No hint of a proper love life, and about to be divorced, not so much. Friendship with Dan possibly ruined, also not so much. In a parallel life, if she was honest, she'd have loved this marriage to have been planned and to have involved all their family and friends and been meant to last forever, like her occasional fantasies over the years when she thought about their fallback pact. But this wasn't a parallel life. It was her actual life, and clearly the pact was never going to have played out like that. Chapter 2. Then, 23rd of December 2013. Evie. Evie's mother pouted at herself in the hall mirror, applied another coat of glossy red Chanel lipstick, pouted again, and scrunched her fingers into her long blonde hair for a bit more volumizing. "You look gorgeous, Mum," Evie smiled at her. "Very glamorous." Her mother was a lot more glamorous than all of Evie's friends' mums, and not just because she was a good 10 years younger than most of them.